Okay, this is the Sports Inquirer, Emar Sopertu, and we're here with Brad Stromdahl from Georgia State Baseball. Before we get to action on the field, I know that you're a baseball family, and Georgia State suffered a loss this past weekend or past week with the passing of Mike Hurst. Uh, what about his contributions to the program and what he meant to the community?
Mike and Carol both have just they have their everything to Georgia State. Mike coached here for 14 plus years. Even after he retired, he was an integral part of what Coach Frady was able to do after that, and just within our community, he's just such a special coach. I mean, he resurrected the program, I believe, two times from. It kind of went out of it kind of was this band, and then he brought it back, and then they got rid of it again and brought it back. He built the field with his own hands. He mowed the grass. He did everything. He washed the uniforms in his basement. I mean, he is the true epitome of the reason why Georgia State baseball is where we are today and where we're going to go in the future. He'll be dearly missed, and we're just all fortunate to be able to have him in our lives and to be able to do those things that hopefully in future we'll be able to commemorate him and make sure that his name and his legacy continues to live on for all of the Georgia State baseball players to come.
Yeah. Well, on the field, you're able to get your regular season started. You played 4 games against West Virginia. Before we get to the specifics of those contests, how do you think the team did? How did you make it through? Because I know it's your first live action in a very long time.
Yeah, no, I mean it was great. I mean it was great to just get out there. I think that Friday for everybody, them and us, it was a matter of just kind of, hey, it's great to be out on the field again, to compete against another team, and to be outside. I think it was just like those nerves of just your first day, and so we had an excellent performance from Ryan Watson on the mound, Tyler Cook, Joseph Brandon, really really did a good job. Took them to extra innings the first game. We had an opportunity to win in the bottom of the ninth. We had a runner at second base with our leadoff guy and our number two hole up, and we just couldn't come through. They were throwing really good pitchers, and we just didn't get a big hit. They got a big hit the next inning, but it was a great game. We lost 3-2. Turned around that next day and just really, really played well. And each and every single pitch, we continued to get better. And so just kind of the main takeaway of the weekend is just that we had a fabulous time. We were able to get outside and play baseball against a really good team, against good competition, and I think that we got better each and every day.
Yeah, that second day you swept a doubleheader, including the extra innings win, 7-6 in 10 innings the first game, which Elian with the game-winning hit. What about
Yep.
executing situational baseball and being able to win that type of contest early in the year for your squad?
Oh, it's great. I mean, I think it puts a little jolt of energy in you when you have a walk off. Double headers are hard to win the two, because whoever wins the first game kind of loses the momentum, and the second game the loser kind of has momentum because the scoreboard's cleared and you're back to 0-0. But when you walk off on the first game, you are able to kind of carry that momentum into the second game. And so Elian had a huge hit. We were able to do some things and execute well enough to win. I think both sides would come away from the weekend saying we need to execute better on a lot of different fronts. But ultimately we got 2 wins that day, and we did what we needed to do, and it's very, very, very pleasing to have that end result.
Yeah, and Will Mize had a homer in that second game, which you in that doubleheader you won 20-4. So we had 6 hits on that day and leads the team in batting average. What about his fast start at the plate for you?
Oh, it's been awesome, man. I mean, a lot goes to our hitting coaches and our approach, and going back through and making sure that we're getting them prepared for those moments. And once those moments happen, it's up to the kid. And Will did a really good job. He hit the ball the other way. He did a good job hitting in the four hole. It's hard to hit in the four hole, and he's a very talented freshman, and we're excited for big things to come from him.
Yeah, but I mean, and also just your first win over ranked team since 2018 when you beat Coastal Carolina, and you got two of them. What about that? Just getting these wins against benchmark programs that's as far as non-conference play as you go through this year.
Well, I think it's good. I mean, I with our schedule, and we talked about this last week a little bit. Just the schedule is so difficult that what the goal kind of long term is so that whether it's a ranked team or whether it's not, or whether it's a team that's always in the SEC or ACC or top 25, whatever that is, that this is just normal baseball and we take care of ourselves. And so all of those accolades are good. I think that it's the most runs we've scored versus the top 25 opponent ever. I think is a school record for that. It's a school record for back-to-back wins versus a top 25 opponent. So, setting those records is cool. Being 2-2 is great, but ultimately it's about what those players do against Georgia tomorrow, against Vanderbilt this upcoming weekend. And so, not letting this situation be too big for them. But rather kind of just controlling what we can control, whether it's bunting, running, throwing, our discipline, our composure. And so I think that's the biggest takeaway from this is that we did all of those things as well as we could have done them, given the situation with West Virginia being a big school, went to a regional last year, 2 years ago, hosted a regional, a lot of those things. And so, myself and our staff, we're unbelievably pleased with where we're at right now. We have a lot to practice later on this afternoon and to continue to grow upon, but the foundation has been laid, and that's the most important part of where we're at right now.
In our last interview, we discussed getting guys in situations, getting playing time, getting everyone to throw at least an inning or so. Were you able to get that through those first four games and getting everyone just acclimated and comfortable with the year?
Yeah, we did. I mean, as best we could. I think from a pitching staff, that was the most important priority, is to get those guys going. I think we threw 18 of the 20 players during this weekend, which is fantastic. Some of them threw an inning, some of them threw 4 or 5. But everybody got to play. We got to kind of figure out what works, what didn't work, what we need to make adjustments with, and adjustments on with each of those guys. And so that was awesome. The majority of the position players got in that second game on Saturday. And so they got 3 or 4 at bats. And so it's a really big win-win for us all the way across the board. I think that everybody kind of got their feet wet, and now we go into Georgia, and there's not, we're just going to go full blast and kind of go from there.
Yeah, and we'll end on that part with Georgia. You faced them on February 24th. Are you approaching these midweek games a little bit differently this year, maybe than in the past? Because these weekend series are so front loaded. You're playing maybe 4, possibly even 5 games over a 3-day period. Are you going to try to maybe rest some guys, or just different approach to the pitching staff this year?
In any other year before COVID, I would say absolutely. But with COVID, you don't know if we're playing on Friday. You don't know if we're playing on Saturday because, we get tested 2 or 3 times a week. The other teams are tested 2 or 3 times a week. If the other team goes down, we're not playing at all. And so you really have to kind of change the way that you approach every single game and every single weekend and play for the moment right now. And so really that's how we're going to go about our entire season, is that we're going to play to win tomorrow. And we're not really going to be concerned about Friday and Saturday, Vanderbilt or Georgia Tech or Tennessee the following weekend. The thing that we know is going to happen is that we know we get to play tomorrow. And so, we're going to do everything and pitch everybody and hit everybody and do whatever we can do to put ourselves in a position to win that ball game.
And also, we played Georgia Tech, Mercer, Kennesaw State. These are local teams as far as the state of Georgia. Does that bring an extra excitement level to the team? Because I'm sure these guys have crossed paths at their prep levels or AAU baseball, things like that. I'm sure you know their coaching staffs very well as far as you go. What about these in-state matchups?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's not that many Division I's in the state of Georgia, and pretty much everybody recruits kind of the same pool of players, if you will. And they've all played on East Coast Pro together, and they've been to all the showcases and all the big tournaments. And so They played either on the teams together, the travel ball teams, or they played against them. So all of those games are fun games because everybody knows each other and there's no secrets. And, there's so much data and scouting report out there that, it's a matter of who can compete and who can continue to build upon what it is that they're coaching and who they are as a player. And I think that those games are the most fun games. And it's even a little bit regionally too. Like, there's some West Virginia kids. The shortstop was from Whitewater High School, played for Rusty Bennett, who was a GSU alum. There's a few other Atlanta kids. There's some Atlanta kids on Vanderbilt. And so I think that as we go through our whole season, they're all fun games. We kind of know a lot of the players, and a lot of players know our guys, and they're all big games for sure. But ultimately, if we can control what we can control within our own staff and within our own team, I think that that's ultimately the main purpose and the main goal of these games and the big matchups.
All right. Well, Coach, thank you for your time. We appreciate it, and good luck against Georgia.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.